The ABCs about Africa for children. Part 1, the people. Africa is the home of all black people wherever they are in the world today. It is a vast continent made up of 53 countries, and there are over 1,000 different languages spoken. A is for Africa. Africa is found on the eastern side of the Atlantic Ocean and is the second largest continent in the world. A is for Africa. A is also for ancestor. An ancestor is a relative who lived before you were born, a person without whom you could not be alive today. In Africa, the ancestor is a very important part of their daily lives. This is a guardian figure of the Kota tribe, Gabon, West Africa. A is for ancestor. B is for beginning. All human life had its beginning in Africa. From Africa, people spread out and peopled all the other parts of the earth. B is for beginning. C is for cradle. Africa is called the cradle of civilization because civilization, like all humans, were first born on the continent of Africa. Civilization means the development of art, writing, religion, and the learning of a people. C is for cradle. D is for different. There are many different color Africans. They range in color from deep blue-black to deep brown to reddish-yellow-brown to light brown. Yet they are all Africans. D is for different. E is for Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country in an area called East Africa. Long ago, a kingdom named Sheba grew up there. The kingdom was ruled for a long time by a woman, the Queen of Sheba. E is for Ethiopia. F is for family. The family is the most honored and important unit of African life. A family is usually made up of several households joined together. This is called an extended family. F is for family. G is for Ghana. Ghana was the first great empire in a part of Africa called West Africa. It was called the Land of Gold because long ago, Ghana was so rich in gold that the king and his court were all splendidly dressed in gold. Even the king's horses and dogs wore solid gold. G is for Ghana. G is also for golden, the golden stool. In a city in West Africa called Ghana, there lived a tribe of people called the Ashanti. They tell the story of how one day a golden stool fell from the sky and landed on Chief Osei Tutu. In this way, he became the king of the Ashanti. The legend of the golden stool still lives among the Ashanti people of Ghana today. G is for golden. G is also for gold. The ancient African empire of Mali was so rich with gold that its most famous king, a man named Mansa Musa, carried so much gold with him for gifts to the poor that he needed a caravan of over 100 camels. It is said that the caravan of gold was worth over $10 million in today's money. G is for gold. H is for hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics was a form of writing created by another early black people known as the Egyptians. Their writing was done by a group of men known as scribes, which means to write. H is for hieroglyphics. I is for Ife. Long before Europe, the Yoruba and Edo people of what is now a country called Nigeria created magnificent works of art in bronze, wood, and terracotta, a clay material. I is for Ife. J is for Janae. Janae was a beautiful city located in an area of Africa called the Sudan. The city was at the height of its power during a period called the Middle Ages. Janae was a great trading center, and it had a great university with thousands of teachers who taught many subjects, including medicine. J is for Janae. K is for Kush. Kush was one of the earliest black empires in Africa. It was located south of Egypt in East Africa. Mighty Kush conquered and ruled Egypt for almost 1,000 years. K is for Kush. K is also for Kikuyu. Kikuyu is the largest tribe of people in a country called Kenya in East Africa. This farm woman is wearing Kikuyu adornments. K is for Kikuyu. L is for language. The people of Africa speak many different languages. In fact, there are over 1,000 different languages spoken in Africa. Most Africans speak the local language of their tribe and use a second language to speak to people of a different tribe. L is for language. L is also for Liberia. Liberia is the only country in Africa that was created by black Americans who long ago returned from America to their native land. The name Liberia means liberty. L is for Liberia. L is also for lamb. Lambs are often carried by little child herders, like this one. Lambs are too weak to follow the herd for long distances. L is for lamb. M is for Mali. Mali was the next great empire in West Africa after Ghana. The people of Mali were called Mandingos. Their leader was a man by the name of Sundiata, and although he lived thousands of years ago, the Mandingo people still claim him as their greatest national hero. M is for Mali. M is also for Mombasa. Mombasa is a seaport city located in Kenya, East Africa, on the Indian Ocean. Mombasa sailors aboard their ships called dhows with interesting-looking sails called lateen sailed as far as China long before the Europeans. M is for Mombasa. M is also for mothers. African mothers, like mothers all over the world, have very tender, loving feelings for their children. In Africa, children are looked upon as great and wonderful gifts. M is for mothers. N is for Nigerians. Benin was another powerful black kingdom built by the Nigerians of West Africa. The magnificent bronzes created at Benin are considered some of the most beautiful sculpture ever created. N is for Nigerians. O is for Osai. Osai Tutu was the tribal chief who long ago became the first king of the Ashanti of West Africa. The Ashanti are world famous for their beautiful kente cloth, which at one time could only be worn by the king. O is for Osai. P is for pyramid. The pyramid is the greatest wonder ever created by man. It was created by black African people called Egyptians. The first known man to create a pyramid was Imhotep. P is for pyramid. Q is for queen. There have been many black queens in history. In fact, the first queens ever known to the world were black African queens. Two of the most well-known are Queen Cleopatra of Egypt and Makeda, Queen of Sheba. Q is for queen. R is for roots. All black American music have their roots in Africa. And since America's only music is black American music, then all American music is African music, including rap and anything that comes after. R is for roots. S is for Songhay. Songhay was the third great empire after Mali in a part of Africa called West Africa. At the height of its power, Songhay was the largest and most powerful empire in the world. S is for Songhay. S is also for Samburu. Samburu are a tribe of African warriors who lived in Kenya, a country in East Africa. The fringe of the hair is used to shade their eyes from the blinding sun while tending their herds of cattle. S is for Samburu. T is for Timbuktu. During what is called Europe's Dark Ages, long, long ago, Timbuktu was the center for trade and was the greatest center of learning in the world. Its great university, named Sankore, attracted students from all over Africa. Timbuktu is located today in the country called Mali in West Africa. T is for Timbuktu. T is also for Turkana. Turkana is a city in Nigeria in a part of Africa called West Africa. In Turkana, you can measure the wealth of a woman's husband by the number of beads she wears. T is for Turkana. U is for understanding. It is important to understand that the path to understanding Africa has been blocked by a wall of ignorance because of racial prejudice. The wall must come down. U is for understanding. V is for vegetables. Most African people are excellent farmers, and they grow their own food, including vegetables like corn, beans, yams, rice, peanuts, wheat, barley, and fruit and nuts. V is for vegetables. W is for Watusi. The Watusi are the most famous of the tribes of Africa, especially the Watusi dancers of the Royal Rwanda Court. Standing well over 7 feet with their headdress, they are not only known for their dancing, but for their knowledge of law, military science, and oral or spoken history. W is for Watusi. X is for the unknown Africans who have done great things, but have gone unnoticed because of their skin color. They deserve to be remembered. X is for the unknown. Y is for Yoruba. The Yoruba, a tribe of Nigeria, West Africa, has created some of the most magnificent sculpture ever created by man. Today, their work is sought by museums and collectors all over the world. Y is for Yoruba. Z is for Zulu. The Zulu people occupy the lower half of the African continent. They are famous for their great fighting warrior spirit. Their most famous leader was Shaka, who long ago built the entire Zulu nation. Today, Nelson and Winnie Mandela are great Zulu leaders and ancestors of the great black Zulu warrior king Shaka. Z is for Zulu. Z is also for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was the capital city of a powerful black kingdom named Monomotapa. This was in South-Central Africa. The royal rulers built great buildings whose stones are still standing. The wonderful thing about these huge buildings is that the stones were fit together so expertly that they didn't need mortar. These black Africans used the exact same method as the black Africans that built the pyramids. Z is for Zimbabwe. Okay, here are some brain busters to see how much you remember from the video you just saw. See if you can answer the following questions before they flash on the screen. Give yourself 2 points for each answer you get right before they flash on the screen. Ready? Here we go. How many different languages are spoken in Africa? The answer is 1,000. What was the name of the first great empire in West Africa? The answer is Ghana. The legend of the golden stool still lives among which African people? The answer is the Ashanti in Ghana. Who were the African people who created the form of writing called hieroglyphics? The answer is the Egyptians. What is the name of the country in Africa created by black Americans? The answer is Liberia. Well, how did you do? Did you score a perfect 10? If not, look at the video again. Then after you get them all correct, make up your own brain busters. Keep at it, and soon you'll know the entire video. Good luck. ABCs about Africa for children. Part 3, The People. Africa is the home of all black people wherever they are in the world today. It is a vast continent made up of 53 countries, and there are over 1,000 different languages spoken. A is for Asantehene, and Asantehene is the honored name of the chief of the Ashanti. The Ashanti are a tribe of people who live in Ghana, West Africa. Ghana, many years ago, was the first great empire in West Africa. A is for Asantehene. B is for Bantu. Many people who do not know the African people well call the people who live in the lower half of the African continent Bantu. The word Bantu is the name for the language, not the people. B is for Bantu. B is also for baobab. Baobab trees are very useful. They grow in the Sudan, desert country, and other places. It does not grow tall, but the trunk is huge, sometimes as wide as 30 feet. The Africans hollow it out and live in it or use it for shade. It also holds water. A thirsty traveler can drill holes in it and get good drinking water. B is for baobab. C is for Congo. The Congo was once a great kingdom in Central Africa. Today, most people in the Congo shop daily, so that food is always fresh. C is for Congo. C is also for Chad. Chad is a country in East Africa. This little girl is from the Dangaliat tribe of Chad. They are called Berbers or nomads, desert people who move from place to place, usually following their herds. C is for Chad. D is for Dogon. The Dogon people of Mali, a country in West Africa, built buildings like this to store their grain. Sun-dried bricks and thatch or straw are used for the building material. D is for Dogon. E is for education. The education of children in Africa is very important to them. They need more schools and teachers very badly. E is for education. F is for fishing. Many people in Africa depend on fishing to provide food for their families. They are very skillful fishermen and boatmen. F is for fishing. F is also for Fulani. The Fulani people of Africa are nomads, or people who are constantly moving to find new grazing pastures for their herds of cattle. They live in a country called Niger in North Africa. F is for Fulani. G is for Girote. The Girote is a person with a very long history in Africa. In fact, the Girote has been a part of Africa for so long, no one knows when or where they first started. The Girote is the wise man, the person in each tribe that knows the history of the tribe. He is a poet, scholar, musician, and storyteller for the tribe. He often tells the stirring story of his people to the sound of the drums. G is for Girote. G is also for groups. Some of the largest groups of people in Africa are Hamites, Maasai, West African, Hutus, and Bushmen. G is for groups. H is for Hutus. Hutus are small people who live in the rainforest region of Central Africa. They are usually less than 5 feet tall and weigh about 88 pounds. They have been wrongly called by people who are ignorant of their culture by the name of pygmy. The name pygmy is an insult to the Hutus people. Their skin is not black, but a yellowish brown. They are a shy and gentle people. H is for Hutus. I is for initiation. Initiation, or rites of passage, is the ceremony that marks the passage of young people from childhood to adulthood. In Africa, the initiation takes place between the ages of 14 and 16. I is for initiation. J is for jungle. The jungle in Africa is in a place called the rainforest. It is found in Central Africa and has thousands of different types of plants, including giant palms. The plants grow so thick in the warm, moist jungle near the equator that even the sun cannot get through. J is for jungle. K is for Kano. Kano is a famous walled city in northern Nigeria. It was a center for learning many years ago. This is a man wearing the rich African clothing typical of the people of Kano. Even their camels wear rich trappings. K is for Kano. K K is also for Kenya. The firstborn child in Kenya and other countries are much loved from birth, and nothing is ever done to anger the child. Some people even believe that the firstborn child has healing powers. K is for Kenya. L is for Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is the largest lake in Africa and the second largest freshwater lake in the world. It is located in the southeastern part of Africa. These men are fishing in the lake. L is for Lake Victoria. M is for Malawi. Malawi is a country in South Africa. This Malawi mother is preparing food for her family in the traditional way. M is for Malawi. M is also for Maasai. The Maasai are the most famous tribe of African cattle herders. They are a very proud and independent people. This young Maasai warrior with a typical forelock of hair. This lion's headdress is only worn by a Maasai warrior who has killed a lion. M is for Maasai. N is for Nok. The Nok people of northern Nigeria created these beautiful terracotta or clay heads thousands of years ago. They were located on the Niger River. N is for Nok. N is also for Nairobi. Nairobi is located in the highlands of Kenya, East Africa. It is a modern city with many beautiful buildings of steel, glass, and concrete. Many Africans have left their villages to live in Nairobi. N is for Nairobi. O is for outdoors. African children who live in the villages attend school in an outdoor area because of the warm climate. During the rainy season is the only time they go to school indoors. O is for outdoors. P is for pumpkin. This young girl is carrying a kabuyu, or water jug, on her head made from a dried giant pumpkin. African people carry things on their heads so that their hands are free. P is for pumpkin. Q is for question. The question is, why do you think there are so few books and videos about the people of Africa? What do you think? Q is for question. R is for Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the smallest countries in what is called Central Africa. The country is most famous for their fabulous Watusi dancers, who are over 7 feet tall in full headdress. The Watusi are cattle owners and measure a man's wealth by the number of cattle he owns. R is for Rwanda. S is for Senegal. Senegal is a seaport country in West Africa. Its capital is Dakar. In Dakar, you will find many very proud Africans and many different styles of clothing. The people are wearing African, Arab, and Western clothing. S is for Senegal. S is also for South Africa. Two of the tribes who live in South Africa is the Bushmen and Basuto. The Bushmen live in the scorching hot Kalahari Desert of Botswana in southwest Africa, and the Basuto live in southeastern Africa where the climate is mild and sunny. S is for South Africa. T is for Tuareg. A Tuareg is a desert nomad, a person who is always moving about. In Africa, Tuareg men, instead of the women, cover their faces in a cloth called a mouth muffler. Some Tuaregs, like this woman, live on covered houseboats. T is for Tuareg. T is also for Temtem. Temtem is the name given to this turban worn by this Ethiopian man. Ethiopia is located in a part of Africa called East Africa. T is for Temtem. U is for unity. Unity is at the heart of African life. First, there is the unity or togetherness of the family. Next is the unity of the family to the village. And finally, the unity of the village to the tribe or nation. U is for unity. V is for village. The village in Africa is made up of several families, all linked by kinship. Most Africans live in villages and grow their own food, which is shared by everyone in the village. V is for village. W is for West. West Africa is the home of the Ashanti people of Ghana. They are wonderful craftsmen who make many beautiful things like this stool, and they weave beautiful cloth for clothing that is known and loved all over the world. W is for West. X S is for the unknown. The unknown Africans who have achieved great things, but have gone unnoticed because of their skin color. They too deserve to be remembered. X is for the unknown. Y is for youth. The youth of Africa often tend the cattle, including the camels, who very often get restless. The youths calm them down by tapping them lightly on the nose. Y is for youth. Z is for Zambia. Zambia is a country in what is called South Central Africa. Zambia has several Bantu-speaking tribes with wonderful-sounding names like Biemba, Kasimbe, and Munda. Zambia also has interesting animals like the wildebeest and the swift cheetah, who is the fastest animal on Earth. He can run at speeds up to 65 miles per hour. Z is for Zambia. Okay, here are some brain busters to see how much you remember from the video you just saw. See if you can answer the following questions before they flash on the screen. Give yourself 2 points for each answer you get right before they flash on the screen. Ready? Here we go. Bantu is the name of a group of people in Africa. True or false? False. Bantu is the language. Nomads are people who stay in one place all the time. True or false? False. The person who is the storyteller for the tribe in Africa is called a... She wrote. What is Kibuyu? Answer, a water jug. What is the correct name for the people incorrectly called pygmy? Answer, Huta. Well, how did you do? Did you score a perfect 10? If not, look at the video again. Then after you get them all correct, make up your own brain busters. Keep at it. Soon you'll know the entire video. Good luck. ABCs about Africa for children. Part 5, the animals. Africa is the home of all black people wherever they are in the world today. It is a vast continent made up of 53 countries, and there are over 1,000 different languages spoken. A is for animals. Africa has many, many animals of all sizes and varieties, including antelopes and apes. A is for animals. B is for birds. Birds are to be found everywhere in great numbers except in the desert, from the tiniest birds of the rainforest to the world's largest bird, the ostrich. Just think, he's the world's largest bird, but he can't fly. That's the ostrich. B is for birds. C is for cheetah. The cheetah is the world's fastest animal. A cheetah can run as fast as 70 miles per hour. It is the only animal that can overtake an antelope or a gazelle. C is for cheetah. D is for dromedary. The dromedary camel is found in North Africa and only has one hump. They can go without water up to a month and can travel up to 100 miles a day across the hot desert sands. D is for dromedary. E is for elephants. Elephants are also found in Africa. They are the world's largest land animals. Like many other African animals, they live in the savannas or grassy areas of Africa. E is for elephant. F is for flamingos. Flamingos are large water birds that are found in a part of Africa called Eastern Africa. F is for flamingo. G is for giraffes. Giraffes are also found in Africa. They are the world's tallest animals. Giraffes, like the elephants, are to be found living on the grassy savannas of Africa. G is for giraffe. H is for hippopotamus. The chubby hippopotamus, or hippo, can be found casually lounging around in the tropical rivers and swamps of Africa. The hippo weighs about 8,000 pounds. H is for hippopotamus. I is for interesting. There are many interesting and beautiful animals living in Africa, such as the impala. I is for interesting. J is for jungle. The jungle in Africa is the home of thousands of different kinds of living creatures, including chimps and gorillas. J is for jungle. K is for king. The lion is the king of beasts because he is the strongest and fiercest of Africa's wild creatures. Most of them live on the savannas or grassy plains. K is for king. L is for leopards. Leopards are another member of the big cat family. They live in the forests and grassy areas of Africa. They are good tree climbers and spend lots of time in trees. Leopards are also very smart, graceful, and powerful. L is for leopards. M is for monkey. Many thousands of monkeys can be found in the rainforests of Africa, swinging from tree to tree and having one grand old time. M is for monkey. N is for knight. Most animals live in the deserts of Africa, like this fennec. Avoid the very hot daytime temperatures by feeding at night when the desert cools. N is for knight. O is for ocelot. The ocelot is another beautiful animal found in the tropical rainforests of Africa. Like the leopard, the ocelot is at home on the ground or in the trees. O is for ocelot. P is for peacock. The peacock in all its magnificence may also be found in the rainforests of Central West Africa. P is for peacock. Q is for question. The question is, why do you think there are so few books and videos about Africa? What do you think? Q is for question. R is for rhinoceros. The rhinoceros, or rhino as he is better known, is found in the southern or lower part of Africa. The rhino is well known for the horns on its nose and very thick hide. R is for rhinoceros. S is for smaller. The smaller African elephants are not found in the grassy areas with the big elephants. Instead, the smaller elephants live in the rainforest. S is for smaller. T is for travel. A camel can travel up to 100 miles a day under the hot desert sun, partly because it can store up to 30 gallons of water in its hump. T is for travel. U is for understand. It is important to understand that the path to understanding Africa has been blocked by a wall of ignorance because of racial prejudice. The wall must come down. U is for understand. V is for vulture. The vulture is another member of the big bird family that lives in the northern part of Africa. He survives by eating leftovers from other animals. Vultures are the only birds that do not have feathers on their heads, but they have very, very good eyesight. V is for vulture. W is for week. A camel can go for many weeks without water. Scientists say that a camel can live for months on the water that comes from the fat in his hump. W is for weeks. X is for unknown. Africa has so many animals that no one could possibly count them. No one knows how many kinds of animals there are in Africa. X is for the unknown.